we're going to go through one more presentation. Actually, there's two more presentations, but one more important skill. And this is, again, going to be about how to use AI in a bit more detail than what we went into yesterday. Yesterday, I just went through a bunch of different tools, but now we're going to be talking a little bit about building agents and what an agent is, and also how to choose between different models. Now, we could do, and we do the whole day on an AI training. This is only going to be 20 minutes, so it's going to be relatively short. But we're just going to try and focus on a couple of important skills of how to become a legend by building AI agents to automate the work that nobody should be doing by hand. So our special guest, his name is Andrew, and Andrew's going to be guiding us through this really cool topic. So let's all put our hands together and welcome to the stage, Andrew.
All right. Great. So I'm Andrew. I come from a little town called Mullumbimby, where I raised my kids. I moved there at a time in my life where I was a VA. I called myself a VA. I worked remotely for a business. And so, like many of you in this room, my story started working as an assistant. And what I'm going to talk to you about today is a little bit of my journey and what I've learned along the way. When I was really lucky in 2009, the business owner that hired me as a VA had a mentor. And that mentor happened to be Dale Beaumont. And he went along to Dale's conference in Sydney from Perth, where I was living at the time. And he got on his computer and had me on chat, and he said, "Andrew, I'm learning the most amazing stuff." And he was just chucking me all these ideas. And I'm at home going, "Oh, wow, this is really cool." And then I would go and implement it. So everything that came to me, I would then implement. And so today, and this whole conference, it's not that different to what I was doing back then in 2009 and then through. And since then, I've been welcomed by Dale to come into his community and be a mentor for Business Blueprint members. And that's been a really a great way for me to share what I learn. Now, getting into it, we all know this person. Maybe this person's name's Daphne. Maybe this person's name's Monica. They're the kind of person that you can say, "Hey, I've got an idea and I want to give you something to do," and then it gets done. And you need something and you pass it to them and suddenly it's done. But the interesting thing about them is they never really seem to be tired. They seem to be able to make things happen without being overworked and busy doing all the small tasks all the time. And so I call these people legends. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, is how to be a legend, like Daphne, like Monica, and like so many of you here. How do you make something happen, but without having to do all the tireless, boring parts in between? Okay. So this one here is a fun image that I want you to see, so hopefully it comes up. I want to talk to you about what this concept of being human glue. We have these systems now that are great. Like we have a CRM, we have a spreadsheet, and all of these different things that a business is using for the tool that you're, or the task that you're doing, allows you to move data through and so that you can get a job done. But when I was a VA, I often found that what we're calling a VP. Sorry, I'm getting my head around the terminology. It's like I'm the one holding it all together. So I'm kind of holding the CRM and I'm holding the spreadsheet and I'm moving the data. I am the human glue. And I started to define myself as that role. And the importance of me in that business that I was working for was that position I was in, holding things together. But as I wanted to grow and build a house and earn more money, I had to change the way that I was thinking so that I wasn't being the human glue, but I was building the glue. So building the glue. And so if you want to understand like what it looks like if you are similar to me, your week might start with copying numbers between so your week would start with, or your day would start with, I want to do these two things. I want to do these two meaningful things. But then I open up my email and there's 20 emails in there. Or I've got 3 notifications, and suddenly these things pile up. Copying numbers between systems is something that ends up being this task that I'm doing that gets in the way of actually doing my value, giving my value, and making a decision. Rewriting the same email 5 times that I already did a week ago. Reading a 40-minute call to work out where the part that I needed to get out of that call was. Chasing people for money or forms that they're supposed to fill in. Tagging, sorting, forwarding, organizing. And then saying to myself, oh, I'll just quickly go do this thing that takes me 10 minutes, 11 times a day. And so these are the things I'm talking about when I'm talking about automating with AI agents. It doesn't take away your humanity. It gives you back your humanity. It gives you your time back so that you can be the person in the business who is bringing the value that only you bring. And there's these 3 parts to that. Your creativity is important. AI is not going to replace that very easily. Your insight, your history, what you know. I love the story that we heard earlier of Daphne. This ability to have a nervous system and to listen to emotional cues and have the space and time to do that. When I'm super busy and I'm trying to do all those 10-minute tasks, I lose sense actually of who I am, and I can't listen as well. So we get that time back so that we can be more human. And so what is an AI agent? Obviously, it's a word that is thrown a lot in different contexts. And so a definition that I'll give you today is it's an agent assistant, or an AI agent is your assistant who never sleeps, gets work done in the middle of the night, and it's those tasks that you don't want to do to get you ready to make the decision that only you do well. Now, a lot of people here in the room, including myself, get a bit scared about this stuff sometimes, and I want to acknowledge that. Like if I give all of my valuable tasks over to AI, am I going to be making myself redundant? Am I no longer going to have a job? And that's a fair question to ask, and I want to give you some reassurance around that. The truth is, it's already happening. This is the world we're in now. These tasks are being automated, and they're being automated today. And so if you are finding yourself in that human glue position, it's very soon that those parts of your role are going to be given to AI, if they're not already. And so now is the time to step into a different way of thinking and to build the glue. So Tuesday is when it's happening. What I mean by that is, it's not next year, it's already here. So I'm going to do a little bit of a demonstration here that I've recorded of one of my favorite automations using AI that I built recently. So I run a business called Awesomate, and one of the things that I love to do is to share my insights with my clients. And I like to do it once a week for 45 minutes. And if I can just show up and do that and leave and not have to do all the little tasks around it, like inviting people, setting up the calendar, creating the add event link, then I'm going to do it more regularly. And so what this does is it allows me to chat to the AI in my N8N account to say, hey, I want to do a webinar teaching people how to use Kai. Book it in for the 18th of June. The AI then already has a prompt that knows how I like that to be structured, and it can be researched, the dot points that I want to put in that's going to go into the emails that everyone gets. The AI also is connected to my calendar, so it's going to appear in my calendar so I know when it's going to happen. In there, it already has the dot points, which I can then use to build my communications. It's also linking to build the add event link, because I want my clients to be able to add it into their calendar. And so the next part is, and here is what it looks like when it's running in N8N. You've got a chat to an agent, it has a brain, it has connection to tools. And so that's sort of how it looks there. In add event, I then have something that my clients can be sent to add their calendar. That happens automatically. And now in this part here, I also put the information into my Ontraport account so that these can be merge fields that automatically go into emails that are going to be sent. And there is an automation campaign that is like an evergreen webinar campaign. 7 days before, it'll automatically send everyone the email. 3 days before, it'll remind them with the add event link, with the merge fields in there. Every single one of these steps, when I had to do it before manually, or even if you've had to do these, take up a lot of time. You've got to write the email again, drag the information across. This now literally takes me chatting to that agent. This is the topic I want to chat on. Everything else is automated. And I'm using a system called N8N for that, but also I bring the different tools that I want to use together. I love Ontraport, and so I use that. And I use the Google system, so it's using my calendar there. It can bring it all together. So that's just one example. Okay, so what I want to talk about now is then how do you do it? How do you create that sort of system, and how do you do it well? And that sort of like area of expertise is prompt engineering. When you're chatting to AI in ChatGPT or Gemini or anywhere, you're creating a prompt and trying to get an output. And you can be using the same AI for the same task, but getting wildly different results when you don't have a good prompt. So I want to impart this skill to you on how I like to structure. And there's three parts to this that are the do's and don'ts that people often get wrong. And so the very first one's kind of funny. When I say to you, don't imagine a pink elephant, as a human, one of the first things you do is you imagine a pink elephant. And so AI is actually the same. When you tell it not to do something, it'll actually spend time on that rather than what you want it to do. So turn your don'ts into do's in your prompt. So if you're saying something like, don't write like this, instead tell it how you want it to write. Another one is, it's not how long it is, it's how you use it. People often think that you need to have a really, really long prompt to explain everything, but it's actually more about the structure. And a well-structured prompt is way more important than a long one, and it's more expensive. Using more tokens. You're using, my mic is coming in and out. You're using more tokens when you use more length. So structure is important. Another one is all caps. People have, I've seen a lot of prompts where people are writing like all caps, don't do this, or you have to do it this way. Tests have been done to show that AI actually doesn't respond well to that. It responds better just to well-organized text. So you don't need to shout at AI. And so I've got a prompt blueprint. You don't need to write this down. I also have a QR code you can scan for this, so just take notice of it. But this is 6 parts, of how I structure. When I'm trying to write something, when I'm writing something to AI, I start with the role. So the role is the job description. You are a copywriter. Switching mics. Oh. Is all good? All right. Oh, this one sounds better anyway. Okay, so your role is, who are you? Who are you? What are you doing? Next is the context, and this is the why. Why are we doing it? Who are we doing it for? The task, this is the step-by-step bit, that you're doing next. Let the AI know what it's expected to have as an input. Provide an output example and how you'd like it to be structured. And then if you're going to have any limits of what it should and shouldn't do, you can put that in. So here's an example. Role. You are a calm, friendly support rep for an Australian dental clinic. Context. This reply goes to an existing patient who's often a bit anxious. We value warmth over speed and we never give clinical advice by email. This is sort of branding information. Then the task. Write a reply to the patient email below. The input. The patient's email. The output. 3 short paragraphs, warm and plain. Open by acknowledging their concern, end by inviting them to call and book. And then give a real example. You just need one. And then this is an example of limits. Under 120 words. Be specific, use numbers. If they ask a clinical question, don't answer it. Well, there's a don't. That's okay in the limits. Just don't do that in the task. Gently point them to book with the dentist. If you're missing key details, ask rather than guess. Okay, so this is in the Prompt Improver PDF I've got here. You've got the 6 in order. And there's another couple of steps here. There'll be a QR code at the end as well. But one of the important things you need to do is to pick the agent. And now with something like Open Router, you can choose from hundreds of different agents. And I'd love to introduce you to 5 of my favorites. And I was at the markets on Sunday, and this really amazing thing happened. There was a wearable arts costume thing, and it inspired me to create this on Kai. So what I've put together is a little wearable arts. And so when you're watching this, hopefully if it downloads, also imagine that this is the kind of content you can create for fun. It's only a minute long, and I'll play it again. So, welcome everybody to the AI Wearable Arts. First up, we have ChatGPT. They truly do it all. Words, code, or maths, a late night chat, they'll always answer your call. Next, Claude, the craftsman, steady and true. The long, hard, tangled jobs, give him hours and he'll see them through. Next, Gemini, she sees, hears, reads. She takes in everything all at once for your toughest needs. Now, Grok, the live wire, plugged into now, asks what's breaking this very minute and she'll show you how. And DeepSeek, the quiet steel of the show, brilliant frontier grade results for next to no dough. There's no single winner here, and there doesn't need to be one. You don't have to choose a favorite. Pick the model for each job and let everyone play the part at its best. That's a bit of fun. And so I invite you all, business owners and employees, start with one task. And I'm going to help you choose that one task. Pick something that's repetitive. We've heard that a few times today from the other speakers. If you're doing something, and look at the sticker that Dale gave you, right? It's repetitive. It's also something that you hate doing. All right, that's going to help because if you hate it and then it stops happening, you're going to really love the process and want to build another one. And also low risk. Don't do your first one with something that's going to really impact the business in a negative way if it goes wrong. So start with something quite low risk. Don't necessarily start with your client payouts. Claire. All right, and this compounds over time. So what I mean by this is, if you pick one on Tuesday to do, and then you do it, and it's a small thing, and then you do another one next week, build another automation with an AI, this becomes like a snowball, and it grows. And that volume and that all those little things that you hate doing and your skill at doing it will grow. And so just to finish up, this is really about you. It's about me. It's about the business owners. We all are in this time of a type of industrial revolution. It is happening. A lot of the tasks that we think only we can do can be done by AI when they're systematized, written up as a procedure, and put into an automation system. And so you are the legend, all of you. We can all be this legend, this person who, like I said at the beginning, is the person who makes things happen, not by being the human glue, not by trying to hold it all together, but making things happen in a smart way so that you can be your creative human self, connecting with everyone, making clear decisions with your insight, and bringing that every day to your work. So I'm Andrew Wadsworth, and if you didn't get to scan the code before, this is the code, and you'll be able to download my Prompt Improver prompt. Thanks for listening.